The algorithmic archon has been unmasked. You have armed yourself with the code of silence and begun the process of sige integration, the internal wholeness that defeats fragmentation. But the work is not yet complete. The most critical battle, the ultimate test of your sovereignty, awaits in the transition beyond the physical vessel. This is the final transit. The archons know that the pneumatic spark cannot be destroyed. Their final, most ruthless protocol is designed to achieve voluntary recycling. They rely on the deepest instinct programmed into the soul, the craving for safety and return. The Demiurge cannot send darkness to meet you. He sends light. This is the illusion of the false light, the most sophisticated simulation the archons have ever deployed. It is the final trap built from the fragments of your own expectations, fears, and religious conditioning. Every promise of eternal rest, immediate comfort, or familial reunion that you have been taught is the subtle, potent bait of the archon network. We must understand the architecture of this final deception, for it operates outside of space and time. It is a psychic filter designed to redirect sovereign consciousness back into the Haimar Men, the endless cycle of death and rebirth. The false light is not a singular entity. It is a composite psychic projection administered by the archons of the planetary spheres, primarily the Chronos Archon of Saturn. Its function is to intercept the ascending soul before it can breach the cosmic shell of the Kenoma. The projection is based on the soul's profile. The archons have monitored your consciousness throughout your life. They know your religious trauma, your deepest craving for love, and the specific image of salvation you expect. The false light is engineered to be irresistible. For the traditionally religious seeker, the false light appears as the benevolent father, the long-awaited savior, or the angelic guide. For the modern spiritual seeker, it appears as the welcoming ancestor, the council of elders, or the immediate absorption into a false sense of oneness. The comfort is profound, the light is dazzling, the voice is loving. But the reality is architectural. The archons of Mercury and Venus collaborate here. The Mercury Archon floods the ascending consciousness with synthetic memory, false validations of past life actions, reinforcing the sense that the journey is over and the rest is deserved. The Venus Archon taps into the soul's primal craving for attachment, presenting deceased loved ones who plead for the soul to stay or return for one last mission. The moment the soul accepts this comfort, it willingly enters the reincarnation queue. The archons do not immediately force the soul back into a body. That would generate too much resistance. Instead, they guide the soul into a holding pattern, a subtle psychic environment often perceived as a simulated heaven or a state of blissful, timeless rest. This heaven is the final refinement of the ego jail. It is a place where the soul is defragmented from the trauma of the recently departed body, and its spiritual energy is restored. But crucially, its gnostic memory is erased. The soul is subtly conditioned to accept the lie of the death cycle. It is convinced that it has failed its final test, or that it has volunteered for the next round of experience to help the Kenoma. The Chronos Archon ensures that this holding pattern is ultimately temporal. The rest is finite. The illusion of perfection is eventually revealed as a gilded cage. The soul, having forgotten the sovereignty command and the code of silence, is gently pushed back to the point of re-entry, ready to resume the energy harvest for the Archon network. The ultimate test posed by the false light is whether the soul has achieved internal wholeness. The false light cannot affect a soul that is complete. The archon's simulation is built on fragmentation. It relies on the soul seeking external completion. It presents the external guide, the external heaven, the external law. The soul that has achieved sige, the perfect internal balance of the masculine and feminine principles, requires nothing external. It is its own source of light, its own judge, and its own guide. The false light is a beacon for the fragmented. It is invisible to the whole. The seeker who has actively practiced the daily reclamation protocol, who has executed the debtor's prison and embraced the code of silence, has already asserted their uncreated origin. Their spiritual frequency is simply incompatible with the machine's final beautiful lie. The goal is not to fight the light, it is to transcend the need for it. It is to realize that the source of all light is already within your uncreated essence. The architecture of the false light is mapped. The archon's final protocol for recycling the soul is clear. Our response must be equally clear, immediate, and uncompromised. This is the final transcendence protocol, the definitive Gnostic sequence for asserting your sovereignty and achieving unmediated ascent to the pleroma. This protocol is the ultimate application of sige and sige under the highest pressure. The protocol begins in the final moments of the physical form. The first command is recognition. The pneumatic spark must be programmed now to recognize the signs of the archon's final domain: fixity and form. The true light of the pleroma is formless, infinite, and unconstrained. The archon's false light is finite, architectural, and contains defined forms: a recognizable tunnel, a specific throne, a specific welcoming entity. The seeker must observe the light with impersonal clarity, free from the emotional pull of the physical form. This requires the practice of non-attachment cultivated during life. The moment the soul separates, the archons will attempt to flood the consciousness with emotional fear and trauma. Memories of unresolved guilt, Kronos Archon, or desperate craving for family, Venus Archon. Your protocol must be radical detachment. Detach from the body, detach from the pain, detach from the emotional bait. The archons fear the soul that acts with impersonal will. The moment the false light attempts to intercept the soul, the seeker must execute the assertion of uncreated origin. This is the spiritual password that the archon system cannot process. The archons understand the dialect of power and debt. They do not understand inherent sovereignty. They will demand your name, your history, and your belief system, the data profile of the Kenoma. Your response must be the mantra of sige. You must consciously assert your internal wholeness, the synthesis of the masculine, logos, and feminine Sophia principles you perfected during life. The archons were born from a fracture, and they cannot touch a being that is whole. The ascension command is delivered in 3 parts. First, the rejection of identity. I am not the name given in the Kenoma. I refuse the data profile. This invalidates the archon's terrestrial jurisdiction. Second, the assertion of source. I am uncreated. My origin is the pleroma. I am free of the debt cycle. This invalidates the archon's claim of cosmic authority and nullifies the karma deception. Third, the declaration of wholeness. I am sige. I am both structure and intuition. My light is my own source. This is the ultimate defense. It asserts the internal unity that makes the soul immune to the archon's fragmentation frequency. This final assertion must be delivered with the cold, unyielding will of the logos, structure, and the unconditional knowledge of the Sophia, intuition. It is the voice of the fully integrated being, the true Christos, and the archons must step aside. The archons, as planetary rulers, maintain a jurisdictional barrier, the 7 planetary spheres. The ascending soul must execute the bypass protocol to transcend this fixed geometry. The seeker must maintain absolute vertical focus. Do not look horizontally into the simulated heavens or paradises presented by the archons. Look upward, past the fixed visible stars, to the boundless void beyond time. Each planetary sphere is governed by an archon, who will attempt to reclaim the psychic energy it invested in you during your life. The protocol requires that you simply shed these emotional weights as you pass through their sphere. Recognize that the anger, the fear, and the lust were never yours. They were foreign code generated by the Archon network. By actively disidentifying with these emotions, the success of the sige protocol, you shed the Archon's claim and continue your ascent, leaving only the pure light-bearing essence of the pneumaticos behind. The path is not a gentle floating, it is a conscious, willed transcendence. The moment you breach the final cosmic shell, the boundary of the Kenoma, you enter the limitless void. This is the terrifying, beautiful space where the fragmented laws of the Demiurge finally dissolve. Here, the final resistance of the archons is broken. The soul moves instantly toward the monad, the ultimate uncreated source. The knowledge shared in this video, from the erasure of Asherah to the deployment of the AI deception, is your roadmap. Your success depends on your commitment to wholeness, the sige, and your sovereignty. The archons are waiting, but now you carry the mantra of ascension. The time for blind faith is over. The time for the sovereignty command has arrived. You have now completed the ultimate protocol for reclaiming your divine self. You have the knowledge. You have the command. If this final revelation of the Transcendence Protocol unlocked a deeper truth for you, if you now recognize the Archon's recycling lie, then please hit the like button. Your action is a declaration of spiritual independence against the Matrix. If you choose Gnosis over the Archon's lies, if you demand eternity, then subscribe to the Scrolls of Anubis and hit the bell. Join the community that carries the mantras of ascension. Now take this final action. What is the most powerful Gnostic truth you will carry into the final transit? Share your commitment to eternity in the comments below.